What's going on? It's your boy Broadway Joel. I'm over here with my friend Rubin over here. He's also a YouTuber. I'll put his link in the bio so y'all can check it out. Check out his page. He does a whole bunch of cool stuff. He travels all over the place. So if you guys know, recently I went to Cuba. I went to Cuba, not recently. It was in August. And you just went to Cuba. How long ago were you there?
Yeah, I just came back about a month ago.
How long was your stay?
11 days.
So we're going to talk about basically his experience, how he felt in Cuba and what he did, and I'll talk about my experience and see how it compares.
Hopefully answer any questions that you guys might have of Cuba.
Exactly. All right, so... Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is the people out there. How'd you feel about the people out there?
Okay, so there's two ways I can answer that question, I think. One is that people are very welcome, like very friendly. Mm-hmm. Everybody's friendly out there. But on the flip side of things, it's not that in a bad way, but everybody's trying to hustle you.
Yeah.
But it's not in a bad way. Like, they're not doing it with bad intentions. They just know that you got a little bit more than they got, and maybe they can help you out and, you know what I'm saying, get a dollar tip. And they'll be happy with that. That's it.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I'm a New Yorker, and I'm specifically from East New York, Brooklyn. So when somebody comes up to me, I'm always on guard. And what I ain't like, I guess, is that... well, not that I ain't like. Something I found weird is that everywhere I walked, people would just shout out and guess where I'm from. They're like, Boricua, come over here.
Dominican, Brazilian.
No, I kept getting Puerto Rican, and my girlfriend kept getting Mexican. It was like, oh, Mexico, Mexicana. And they would be like, Puerto Rico. And it's kind of weird and annoying. And one guy said, he's like, oh, you French? You French, right? You from France? I'm like, I don't look French at all. So
well, maybe you a little bit.
Nah, unless I'm like 10.
Well, what they're used to getting is the most is French tourists.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen the most out there with people from France.
Yeah. So, but in all, the people were nice. Again, like he said, there were a lot of hustlers out there trying to sell you stuff, trying to sell their time, even if it's just asking for directions. They'll be like,
you can't ask for directions out there almost, because it's like, where are you trying to go? I'll take you, come.
Yeah, and then once they take you, it's like, yo, help me out, I'm hurting, and stuff like that. So,
and then they're not starving, but they really are not making it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Out there is tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
When I went to the tobacco farm, the tobacco farmer, he was selling a bunch of tobaccos for $50-$60, and I'm like, yo, this dude's making a lot of money. And at the beginning of the tour, he had told us that he gets taxed 90% of his profits.
Yeah, 90% of his farm goes to the government. He has to sell that to the government.
Yeah, he has to give it. That's taxes.
But he still makes money from it. They buy it off him.
For every $100 he makes, he only keeps $10. $90 goes to the government.
Oh, for what he sells?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because what they explained to us was that 90% of the farm, they have to sell that to the government.
Nah.
But they still get paid for it. But it's like pennies on the dollar.
What he told us was he gets taxed 90%.
Gotcha.
Which is crazy.
But how do they regulate that too, though? You know.
I mean, I don't know.
I guess they gotta know what moves and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they know. Because they could have sent me. I could have been undercover and see all that money moving. I'm like, listen, they make about $300 a day. You know, they're not stupid. Yeah, it's kind of like the IRS here.
I think they make like $1,000 a day over this.
It's crazy. All right.
Really quick, I'll just add to, as far as the tobacco goes, that if you're gonna buy Cuban cigars, either buy them in an official store, not someone's apartment, or buy them at the farm. If you buy them at the farm, you'll probably save I think 80%.
Yeah, the farm is 20 times better. I had cigars in the city in Havana, and I took a 2.5-hour trip to Vinales, and I went to the tobacco farm. That's where the guy told me about the 90%. It's a 2.5-hour drive. Again, it's a little tough, but the cigars tasted 20 times better and were about like half the price. So ends up being the same if you count the trip, but the trip out there's stuff to do. Like we went to some underground cave where there was water. We went to there's also a coffee farm. We didn't get to go because it started raining. But there's a lot more to do than just a farm. And
the dinosaurs.
The dinosaurs, yeah, it's a beautiful area. So I definitely recommend taking that trip to the other side of it.
Not real dinosaurs. This guy painted a huge mural of like dinosaurs, but it's just cool to go there and take a selfie.
Yeah, from what I understand, I could be wrong. That was like some like kind of community service for some prisoners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I might be wrong on that, but I think I read something on that.
We can fact check it.
We can fact check it. I'll look. You see that right there? Either says correct or incorrect. Yeah. So I fact checked it. So there you go. All right. So technically, I was wrong. That painting was not drawn by prisoners. The reason I said that is because there's a park in Santiago de Cuba. It's called Bacanao Park or something like that, where there's like little statues and stuff of dinosaurs that were built by prisoners. So I somehow got those two confused. I know it was dinosaurs, Cuba, so I got those mixed up. As far as who painted the painting on the mural on the big mountain, I really couldn't find too much information on it. I tried looking everywhere all over for it. Couldn't find it. But again, I wasn't making that up. I did hear something about dinosaurs in Cuba. And and prisoners, and it wasn't the wall, it was the park on the other side of the island in Santiago. So don't give me too much hard time for that. So the second thing I want to talk about is the nightlife. How was the nightlife for you?
The nightlife, if you go to Cuba, I would say, if you go to Cuba, it's because either you love cars, I don't know if I should say the next one, or you love the nightlife. It's either you love cars or you love the nightlife. Yeah, I'll say it anyways, and you can cut it if you want to. In most countries you go to, you see a lot of old men with young women. Yeah. In Cuba, you see a lot of old women with young boys. Like 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Really? I ain't see that.
And then, so me and my girl noticed it when first we went and did the touristy thing, so we weren't partying. When we started to party, going to the dance halls and stuff like that, we started, like, we would go to the local dance halls. So we go to a local spot where only locals go. There's barely any tourists there, and there's like 2 or 3 old women that were tourists or that go there often, and they had a young boy with them, like an 18, 19, 20-year-old.
So a lot of like gigolos out there.
So then, so it got to the point that once you start seeing something, you start seeing it. You know what I mean? Like when you drive that kind of car, you're like, oh snap! Or when you whatever. So we started noticing everywhere. So then we get to the airport and there's 2 old women taking 2 young boys with them to wherever they were going. I don't know if it was America, France,
whatever,
France,
Germany,
yeah. So that's something we noticed.
I've never noticed.
We noticed that everywhere we noticed that.
That's crazy.
And maybe you might have thought it might have been like a tour, giving them a tour of the city or something like that.
They but a tour that Cuban deep.
When we went to the dance halls, we seen them like making out, and I'm like,
you know what's fun?
I don't knock it. But it's interesting.
Hey man, get your bills paid, man. Yeah. I'm not trying to judge nobody.
It's just interesting though.
But you know what's funny? When one of the cab drivers was telling me and my girlfriend, again, it's me and my girlfriend in the cab, and she was telling us like, yeah, I have a friend. She told me to drive her here. That I called her. I told her I had 2 guys for her. She told me to drive and wait for her outside, and she just went and she took care of both those guys. She's like, yeah, I know all the prostitutes in Havana. She's talking to me like she's talking about like selling candy. I was like, whoa. But honestly, I ain't seen none of that. What you saying with the
old ladies, huh?
And I ain't seen none of that with with like just female prostitutes in general. I don't know.
You didn't see too many prostitutes?
I ain't see any.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I did, they weren't obvious prostitutes. So they were just women.
We went to Trinidad. Did you get to go to Trinidad?
No, I didn't. Okay. Trinidad is a city in Cuba, not the
country. Not the island.
No, I was going to. It was between there and Villanos. We ended up going to Villanos.
Gotcha. So we ended up going to Trinidad for 3 nights, 3 days and 2 nights.
Okay.
And we went over there to a famous a famous club that's called the Cave, La Cueva.
Okay.
I forgot exactly what the name of it is, but the nickname is La Cueva, and it's in a cave, and it's phenomenally dope.
It's a club
inside
in
of a cave, bro.
That's
like
gangsta.
one of those caves you pay $15 to just go look at, and there's nothing there. This was in a cave, so I ended up having 3 mojitos, and I woke up the next day sick, out of my mind, throwing up.
Really?
I think the ice might have not been like the water might have not been purified or something, but whatever. So in that cave, we actually got to see a lot of prostitutes.
Dope.
And how do you know they're prostitutes? Because you see old white tourists that are like 60, 70-year-old.
With these hot-ass 25-year-olds.
25, 30-year-olds that are just
gorgeous.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nah,
and then they're all dancing out of place, you know what I mean?
By the way, Broadway Joel and Rubin do not condone prostitution. We're not saying go out there for prostitutes.
I don't knock it either, though.
We don't knock it either. Listen, we're not here to judge.
If you pay for it or you're the one getting paid, I don't knock it either because
that's your business. We don't get down like that. You know, well, I don't get down like that. Let me not speak for him. You know?
I just feel like if everybody wanted to be a YouTuber, then me and you probably wouldn't make it, right? So somebody's got to do something.
Somebody got to do it, man. There's a market for it, and that's what they're doing. You know, no judgment.
Judgment-free channel.
Exactly.
Judgment-free zone.
Exactly. All right, so the third thing I want to talk about is the food. The food portions were so small everywhere I went in Havana. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the rations, the whatever the government is. But I will order a plate of rice and beans and chicken, and I'm expecting to see this mountain of rice, and it's like, oh,
small portion.
I went to one restaurant and I had to order two. I was like, can I get a? There was like,
entree?
It was like, it's an extra charge. I was like, just bring me it, like, you know.
Now, definitely, I would say that the food in Cuba, for the most part, actually sucks.
Really? Now,
I
didn't get that.
No?
Nah. There's a restaurant in Havana. It's called El Biki. ELBIKY.
That's the only place you ate at?
Nah, I ate there twice, man. That's the best food in Cuba. It was amazing. Like,
is that the one where Obama went to?
No, I think you talk about La Guarida.
Okay, I went to the one that Obama went to.
Yeah, I went there too.
The food there was good.
Food there was real good,
but
actually.
We ate at a lot of restaurants, and from what I read online also, but I just didn't believe it because I just thought it was just people being bougie. But when I went there and I would eat at these restaurants, I would just be like, yo, because everything is rationed. So first off, you go to a restaurant, they're not gonna have whatever it is that you want to ask for, unless you go to like a fancier one, like the one that you just mentioned.
And Biki is a nice one. Yeah.
Well, that one they had everything on the menu. Mm-hmm. But we went to a lot of other ones that it would still be like $20, $25 a plate, and they wouldn't have like calamari for the day. They wouldn't have shrimp. They wouldn't have certain things for the day. So I guess that's something too. That's like me. I don't really care because I could eat the pizza out there. You know, the pizza costs 40 cents, and it's basically just.
I mean, I'm from New York, man. If I'm going to Cuba, I'm not. You're
not gonna eat pizza.
I'm not gonna eat pizza.
I'm just trying to give an honest perspective so that people don't think I'm bougie because I'm not bougie. You know what I'm saying? I ate hot dogs out there that cost 10 cents a hot dog.
I actually did see that. You put it on your blog. It's in the descriptions. Y'all can check out his blog where he eats.
So I'm not bougie at all. I don't think I'm high class or nothing like that. But I would say that if you're from the States and you're used to getting the things how you like it, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely. To add on to that point is like the there's not a lot of variety. It's just basically rice and beans and some kind of protein. Yeah, you can get a little bit of pastas here or this or that, but for the most part,
but they're not going to have the right amount of cheese or the right amount of sauce.
And even if they do, it's not like you're not going to get a lot of variety. So just keep in mind that when you go there, you have to like Cuban food or Hispanic food, and that's pretty much what you're going there for.
If you're really, really bougie, I say bring a bottle of A1 sauce. That'll probably save your trip, and then the rest of your family.
Don't do that. That's not ratchet. That's not bougie. That's ratchet.
I'm just saying. It is, but you know, a lot of people like to complain about everything. So I'm not the type of person to complain about anything. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather just bring the A1 sauce. If you have
do that.
If you have a family member that complains,
Broadway
bring him.
Broadway Joel does not condone bringing an A1 steak sauce to a freaking restaurant.
I brought ketchup with me.
You see, I don't approve of that either. This is all Rubin.
I brought ketchup with me. I'm not gonna lie. So I put my own ketchup on. The meat, like I ordered steak one time and it was just burnt. Like I asked for medium well, but they just gave it to me like overcooked. So I said, I'm not gonna complain and throw it back, and then the guy's gonna get in trouble. This, that, the third. So I said, whip out the ketchup.
Doused it in ketchup.
Yep, I ate it with the ketchup.
That's hilarious. Did you get that on video?
No.
Oh man, I wish you did. All right. So the fourth thing I want to talk about with Rubin is the cab negotiations. What you think about it?
Again, with the not trying to be like bougie stuff. I feel like
this is like when somebody goes, "I'm not racist. I have a black friend," but you know, like, and they go on to complain about black people. This is what he's doing with the bouginess.
So for me, honestly, I try not to negotiate with them.
Really?
Like whatever they ask for, if I felt like it was like reasonable, like all right, it's $5. It's not gonna make me, but it's not gonna break me, but it might make his day. I'll give him the $5, $10. But
not me.
but some people would be like, all right, most cab drivers will charge you $5 to $7 to get to a certain destination. Then other guys would be like, oh, it's 20, and I would just be like, I wouldn't even reply to him. I would just go like this and just let him leave. And then they'll try to negotiate with me, but you already burned that bridge.
Yeah.
So I would just let him go. But that barely happened. And most people were reasonable. They charged us way more than they charged the locals. But this is from the bottom of my heart. They only make minimum wage. I think it's $10 a month out there. That's minimum wage. Most of the people there make $20 to $30 a month, as on average, from what people say. I don't know how true it is, but the minimum wage is $10 a month. Yeah. So if they charge me $5 to get somewhere, I'll be like, if this was New York City, I'll be paying $15 to get there. So here's the $5.
Yeah, nah. I definitely hated the negotiations, and the negotiations got really wore on me. Like the last day, where I was like, fuck, man, I'm tired of this negotiating. I'm like, yo, and then I would just go up to somebody, they'll give me a price, and I'm like, damn, man, that's not even that far, man. Like, I would just get, it wasn't even, it just wore me down, and I was there for 7 days. You were there longer than me. It wore me down. I was like, damn.
Well, I'll be also honest about me not negotiating with most cab drivers. We mostly took the cab drivers that the locals take.
Oh, okay.
And they pay 40 cents. They pay 10 CUCs, and we pay $1. I mean, they pay 10 CUPs, and we paid 1 CUP. Okay. So we paid 150% more, but it's only $1. Yeah. And that's how we mostly traveled. But
you traveled on the
collectivos,
yeah. I never got to. There was none around where I stood, because I stood like in the tourist area. I stood across the street from El Capri, the hotel, which is a block away from what's that hotel called? El Nacional. So I stood in Vedado. So there was just nothing but cab drivers there. One of the negotiation tips that I have for you guys is what I do is I go, like, let's just say we get stuck at a number, and I'm like, all right, does your car have air conditioner?
You bodied like 90% of them.
Yeah, most, if not, most of them, or 50% of them, whatever, I don't know the exact number, don't have air conditioning. And if they say no, you go, you see, you don't even have air conditioning. You charging me that amount? Nah, come on. And then they usually come down to your price. But that's a double-edged sword, because if they say yes,
then you got us. You already shook hands on that.
Yeah.
Basically.
So, but again, that's just a tactic that I use out there. But again, it does wear on you, especially if you're out there for a long period of time. Again, on the 6th day, I was like, fuck, man. Like, I'm tired of this negotiating. I just want to get to the beach. I just want to do this. And it was just real tough on me. But I had a lot of fun out there. So, I guess the negotiations were, small debt that I had to pay.
There's a real cheap way to get around. Is you've seen those big buses that look like New York City buses?
Man.
You didn't see none of those?
You stood in the hood or something? What's
No.
that?
I actually stood in. I stood in the neighborhood where people make fun of the people that live there because they're bougie. The people that live there, everybody says like, oh, the people from there. Oh, you're staying over there. Oh, those people are like. And I'm like, what does that mean? And then they couldn't.
Well, what neighborhood you stood at?
I can't answer you right off the back, but I stood on like J Street and 23rd.
Okay, so you're not too far from where I stood.
Copelia, you know Copelia, the ice cream
place. All right, we
Yeah.
stood not too far from each other.
So I stood about 5 blocks Havana's this way, and
Yo, the
Copelia's
ice
here?
cream is mad good. Copelia's?
Yeah, you liked it?
Yeah, I loved it.
I'm lactose intolerant, so I didn't do too much ice cream. Even though I took lactate pills with me, but I just didn't want to go through
my
that.
girl's also lactose intolerant.
The lactate pills work.
Yeah, she brought her own lactate pills, so she had them. I remember when we went to Copelia's the first day, I ate it, and then after that I was like, damn, that shit was good. I went and I bought another one.
So with Copelia, if you get the local currency, you pay like
yeah, I know.
10 cents on the ice cream cone.
I was getting beat on the head. I never had
like
the
50 cents or $1.
I don't remember. It was in August, but yeah, I was paying everything in CUPs.
CUPs?
Whatever the convertible.
Yeah. Cooks. CUC.
Oh, CUC,
yeah.
my bad, CUC.
Yeah. Now we ended up getting the CUPs, the local currency, afterwards, just because of stuff like that. Like an ice cream cone would be like 10 cents.
Yeah, I know that. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even matter though. If you don't speak Spanish, you probably will still pay in local currency.
By the way, we got a little bit off topic of the cab negotiations.
Yeah.
What if one of the viewers doesn't speak Spanish? You'd be fucked out there, right?
I mean, if
all I did was speak Spanish out there.
All right, so there's a lot of people that we met that were from France that spoke very broken Spanish, and they were hard negotiators. So they went there on a budget, and they made that budget last. So they took the public transportation, the big buses that only cost 10 cents to get on it. It costs actually less than 10 cents. It costs $1 local dollar from the currency. So that's 24 for every. So it's very cheap. And now if you don't speak Spanish and you're on a budget, those people know how to travel like that, backpacking, stay at hostels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you do speak Spanish, you could pretty much control like what you're gonna spend on stuff a little bit better.
Another thing about the cab negotiations, they will give me a price, and I'll be like, "Come on, I'm Hispanic, man. You charge that to a German or something." I used to say that, guilt them, like, "Yo, we Latinos, brother." Sometimes they used to
I was
be
gonna
like,
say that ain't work for me.
Nah, sometimes they'll be like, you know what, whatever, man, all right. But sometimes they'll be like, nah, but I gotta pay rent. I don't care who you are.
I would actually tell them that I'm from out there.
Oh,
they would be like,
Cuban?
Yeah, because so closer to Trinidad and closer to the south of Cuba, they speak with the L's instead of R's like they do in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. So I would tell them I'm from out here. I'm from here. And they'll be like, where you from? And I'll be like, from Trinidad. And my father's from Santiago. I'm from out here. How you gonna charge me that much? But they'll be like, nah, come on, And I'll be like, nah, I'm from out here. They're like, yeah, but you live out there. We gotta charge you as a tourist.
All right, so another topic we want to talk about is getting around. Was it hard or easy for you getting around out there?
During the daytime, it's super easy. In Havana, it's super easy. If you're gonna go to Viñales, Trinidad, or Santiago, during the daytime, it's gonna be easy too, because everybody and their mother is a cab driver. It's just like Uber over here, but there's no Uber over there, but everybody's a cab driver. Yeah. So it's fairly easy to get around. At nighttime, I think, when we came out of the cave at 1 a.m., we couldn't find a cab. We had to walk like 3 miles.
Yeah, getting around actually was pretty easy for me, because the streets where we stood in Vedado, is everything. The streets are by number and letter.
Oh yeah, it's like Manhattan.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, I'm on J and 11. Oh no, I'm on N and 12. So even if you don't know the streets, if you know the alphabets and you know how to count, you pretty much know how to get around. And also, if you get out of that area, there's the Maps Me app.
Oh yeah.
Where it's an app where you don't need.
It's an offline map.
Yeah.
You don't need data.
You don't need data. You don't need Wi-Fi. You can get from point A to point B. It's kind of like Google Maps, but with no Wi-Fi, no data, no nothing.
And it's free.
Yeah, so
it's a free app, and you don't get charged for using your data out there.
Yeah, and then again with the cabs pretty much know where everything is. If you have an idea of where you want to go, like, oh, I want to go to this, see that, and they pretty much know how to get there. There's one thing. Like getting to Viñales and all these other places, the way I did it, I booked it through my Airbnb. My Airbnb guy, he was real professional. He had a laminated thing, and he had prices for everything. And then you call him, you let him know, and he will find a cab driver for you, and the cab driver will take you to whichever.
And the prices are a little bit more, but they're almost the same as what a cab driver would charge you. Mm-hmm. But the only thing is that they take money away from the cab driver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd rather go by with somebody who's recommended. I just on everything in general, even out here in New York. Like if I'm getting my car fixed and there's a spot across the street, but you recommended me to go to a spot in the Bronx,
I'll drive to the Bronx.
I'll drive to the Bronx just because off the recommendation.
Yeah.
That's the way I am in general. Just forget about another country. So I like to go by with the Airbnb guy. If he recommends some guy, that means he knows something that I don't know. So I just go ahead. Yeah.
But like when we stood in Santiago, the same thing with the Airbnb. They had a laminate thing, all the prices, everything they do. So it was like $40 to go to horseback riding.
Okay.
So we were like, all right, yeah. So we were like, all right, we'll check it out. It's like a 5-hour tour.
Okay.
So we're like, all right, we'll check it out, no doubt. And we ended up going out for mojitos that night. Also, it was the night before we went to the caves, and then we met this kid on the street, and then he was like, "Oh, just reserve with me. Give me $5, and give me $5 tomorrow, and that'll cover the whole entire thing." So
save
$10. So it's on a bit of a budget, but reliability. The kid never showed up.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying with the recommendation.
So then we ended up looking for the kid. Like, nah, I want my $5 back. Now I was on a hunt for my $5. Yeah. So we ended up looking for the kid. Then we bumped into somebody else. He was like, "This kid, just give me the rest of the money and I'll take you." And he ended up taking us.
All right. What if he would have scammed you? I don't know.
Everybody could have scammed us. So maybe to be on the safer side, if you got it, just pay the whatever they asked for, because you're already there. You already spent all your time, your vacation time, and everything to get there.
Yeah. Like again, that's how. What I was saying earlier is I do everything by recommendation.
But if you're a backpacker, negotiate the out of it. Just negotiate. Get it as low as you can get it.
All right, exactly. So one of the things we want to talk about is safety. Cuba has a misconception that it's an unsafe place due to it being a communist country and all that. What do you think about the safety?
It's the safest country on earth.
On Earth?
Yeah, it's been gradually
safest country you've been to.
Safest country I've been to by far, for sure, 100%.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I
don't see any country being safer than Cuba.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't feel safe in the aspect was it was just more me being paranoid. I felt like people were trying to scam me sometimes, like trying to sell me something, trying to do something. But at the end of the day, when I walked away and after the end of our conversation, it was just like, oh no, they were just trying to make some money. It was just, maybe they were selling me something overpriced. That doesn't necessarily mean it's unsafe, you know. But I never felt threatened as far as somebody's going to stab me, rob me, shoot me, none of that.
Never.
Yeah, nah. So that's one thing. So if safety is a concern for you as far as when going to Cuba, it's definitely not something that should concern you. Like when I told my father I was going out there, he was like, "What? No."
Oh my God! Why would you go there?
Yeah, he was like, "What if they kidnap you and ask for a ransom?" I'm like, "Dude, they only kidnap rich people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't get nothing if they kidnap me." So.
But even so, there's no concern of being kidnapped.
No. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah. Like when I went out there, I felt safe. My girlfriend, she felt safe.
So I was vlogging with my camera, and out of nowhere, there's a blackout for like 15 blocks all around us. Boom, pitch black dark. You see the moon shining, and people go outside. They started, talking, bullshitting, and you just didn't feel like you were gonna get kidnapped or somebody's gonna drag you into a van or an apartment. None of that. I continue to vlog.
Yeah, nah. I was out there, my iPhone, my DSLR camera, and yeah, nobody ever approached me. Nobody ever tried to rob me. None of that. It was like
my girl got the iPhone Max, the big one that it doesn't fit in none of her purses. It doesn't fit in her pockets, so she just walked around with it the whole entire trip. And not once did somebody try to snatch it. Not once did somebody even say, "Oh, what kind of phone is that?" On some scheming, on some New York shit. But it was extremely safe in Cuba. It's probably, I don't know, for me, it's the safest country I've been to so far.
Yeah, it's the safest country I've been to as well. Because like when I went to Jamaica, they try to warn us that to not leave the resort. They also try to warn when I went to Cancun. They gave us certain neighborhoods not to go to. They're like, oh yeah, you can leave the resort, but try to avoid these areas. And when I went to Cuba, nobody told me any of that. Nobody told me avoid this area. Don't go out at night. Nobody ever told me any of that.
Put your phone away.
Yeah, nobody ever told me.
When I go to Peru, it'd be strangers that would be legitimately concerned for my safety. They'll be like, hey, you might want to put the camera away. Or a security guard went up to me once and he was like, look at that guy right there. Now watch him. And I started watching the guy. He started getting closer and closer and closer. And he was like, "Hey, get out of here!" And the guy left. So he was probably gonna snatch.
Trying to
snatch my camera and take off running down the avenue or something like that. In Cuba, none of that.
Yeah, it was none of that in Cuba, thank God. So if safety is a concern for you, that was one of the concerns for you going, is definitely something that you should scratch off your list and just know that it's a safe country. All right. So, all right, the last thing we're going to end off on this is, would you ever go back to Cuba?
If you guys hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.
And comment.
I'll let you guys know that I'll definitely go back to Cuba. And I would pick Cuba over Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and he's a Puerto Rican.
And I was raised there, and I was born and raised there till the age of 10. Yeah. But it's the same as Puerto Rico as far as the weather and the culture and the food, but it's way safer.
Yeah, no, I have to actually agree. Agree in the part where, like, I definitely would go back. Like, the food, especially this restaurant El Vicky, I had great service over there. The food was amazing. The culture, the cigars. I don't even smoke cigars like that. That's not really my thing. But like, just when you're out there and you're having a beer, a Cristal beer, and you know you're smoking their cigar and you're at the beach, it's just like a real nice culture. And again, I love the 50s cars that they had out there. They were real nice looking cars. I rode around in all of them.
I wasn't big on the ignition part with like the pollution, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Yeah, and honestly, some of the cabs you get in, they have AC, they have the brand new leather seats. Some aren't as nice, but again, the nicer the car is, the more money you're gonna have to spend.
Yeah.
But sometimes, depending on how long the trip is worth the little extra $10-20, whatever.
If you're gonna go as a couple, it might not be worth it because it wasn't worth it for us. Maybe it wasn't worth it for you guys. But if you're gonna go in a group, like 4 people, you can rent the car. And the cheapest car is, I think, is $80 a day.
Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't know you could rent the car.
So you can rent the car. Gas is almost the same price as out here in New York, so it's a little pricey. But you can rent the car out there for $80 a day, and you can have the whole island is yours, basically, wherever you want to go.
That's something to definitely consider. Maybe next time when we go. We both said we would go back. Maybe, maybe next time we'll rent the car. Who knows?
It's so safe that you could leave the car parked anywhere. Nobody's going to mess with it.
Yeah, hold on. Maybe next year we're doing another vlog of how we went and we drove around in the car, and I'll have some B-roll for that and stuff like that. Oh,
back to the safety thing. What the dance instructor told us was that if a Cuban robs another Cuban, they get 3 to 6 months in jail for a phone. Mm-hmm. But if they rob a tourist, it's 25 to life. And they said that if you get such big numbers, you're never gonna see a judge unless you know somebody or you pay somebody off. So the people out there, when I say they don't mess with tourists, they don't mess with tourists. The most they'll try to do is sell you a bottle of liquor for $5 more than what it costs down the block.
Which isn't really a crime. These are poor people trying to make an extra buck. You just have to be savvy as a tourist to know these tricks. And
that's anywhere you go.
Yeah, that's anywhere around the world.
But in other countries, they'll sell you the bottle for $5, and then you walk down the block, and they'll hit up so-and-so like, yo, I just seen him pull out a wad of money. Go get them. Exactly.
So again, like, these are something to definitely consider. Safety is none of those problems, and definitely we would go back, and we definitely had a lot.
We're gonna go back.
We're gonna go back again. All right, guys, definitely hit the like button, subscribe, comment, and hit up my man Rubin. I'm gonna put his channel in the description. If not, if you're too lazy to do that and you want to do other things, where can they find you?
YouTube.com/RLC1.
Or just type in Rubin in YouTube search, Rubin Lopez in the search engine, and he'll come up. Or if you're a smart person, you go into the link go into the description where I put his link, and you can go to his channel and check out all his videos. He has cool travel videos that he's done and things on boxing and stuff like that. So definitely, if you guys want to follow me, Broadway Joel, Instagram Broadway Joel with the number 2 on Twitter. Definitely check me out, holla at me, let me know in the comment section what you think of the video. Peace.